Hello, hi everyone. Hello, Dr. Roni Moya, and
Hi.
everyone who is watching us. Before I start, I would like to give a brief introduction to the gentleman that I'm having a pleasure of having a conversation with today. His name is Dr. Roni Moya. And if you take an attempt to introduce Roni Moya, you can at least imagine two aspects of his personality. One is Dr. Roni Lara Moya, PhD, who studied biomedicine in the University of São Paulo, Brazil, uprooted himself and went to specialize in anti-aging medicine in Seville University in Spain, completed Master of Science in Molecular and Cellular Immunology and Biology, and Master of Science in Clinical Advanced Nutrition, and did his PhD in Biomedicine and Immunology on top of that. That avatar of Dr. Roni Moya is known to the public as coordinator of orthomolecular medicine in Regenera Research Group for Aging Intervention, professor and director of the graduation program in orthomolecular therapy in the University in Portugal, and a scientific advisor for nutraceuticals and cell therapy companies in Europe. Another avatar of Dr. Roni Moya that I know is a flamboyant, charismatic gentleman with creative imagination, well-versed in art, literature, and is a professional belly dancer himself who, back in the days when atmosphere of post-Soviet Eastern Germany was even stronger in the air than now, used to belly dance in Opera House in Leipzig. You cannot, by any stretch of the imagination, call Dr. Roni Moya even anywhere close being a boring or uninspiring person. His magnetic personality encourages and in the same time entertains people around him. He speaks multiple languages, brilliantly articulates and presents his scientific lectures, and acts as a catalyst for the special chemistry in relationship between people in his environment. Speaking for myself, I just feel very cool and comfortable in his company. During the time spent together in relaxed, non-obligation conversations, I encountered one more avatar of Dr. Roni Moya, a humble, self-effacing guy who, same as any one of us, struggled and strived through life and learned his way to enjoy small little things in life in a personal pursuit of happiness. Dr. Roni Moya and I are not just colleagues who publish scientific articles and present at conferences together. I consider us friends. When I called him a few days ago to invite to this interview, he instantly accepted the offer. The conversation is going to be between two colleagues and friends in the same time. And wherever the dialogue takes us, I'm ready to go and explore it with utmost excitement. So ladies and gentlemen, without further delay, Dr. Roni Moya. How are you doing, brother?
Hi, my friend. Thank you very much for this amazing, beautiful introduction. Almost I'm crying
Well,
from your
that's who
words.
you are, Roni, that's who you are. And although we live apart, quite far from each other, we don't really meet that often. But there was a moment of spiritual connect, if you remember, a couple of years ago. When we talked, and when we sort of, it was an unprofessional, just informal conversation, and we just talked about life and how we went through, and what experiences and hurdles and all. So that moment, I have to admit to you, you have earned absolute respect from my side, and there was that spiritual connect that I'm very proud
Thank
of.
you.
I'm very proud of being your friend. I'm very proud of the way how you treat me. So yeah, so it's your time now, and please tell us where you are and what are you doing now, because you are the educator, you are the academician, and you are the practitioner. So
Yes.
how does this whole lockdown situation, the virus and all, how are you coping with that? What are you doing and where are you standing?
Well, the respect is mutual. I am very proud that you are the amazing doctor that I am very, very happy to share scientific knowledge with, and also personal life. I hope we can develop everything together and go on with that. And coming back to your question here, I'm in Lisbon. Actually, I'm from Brazil, as you introduced myself, but I live in Europe from '99. I went to Germany to to be a ballet dancer and also study immunology. So here in Lisbon, the thing is very complicated, but not so much. For example, if you compare to Germany or to Spain, we are a little bit better. We are locked down from the beginning of March. Everybody has to be at home, but I see people going out doing exercises by the beach, included myself. I cannot stand without any exercise. I do exercise every single day.
Is police
So,
disturbing you? Any
sorry?
police, law
Yeah, yeah,
enforcement?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
I
yeah.
was hearing stories in United States when you just, or in UK for the matter of fact, you can go alone, be absolutely alone on the entire beach, and then the police might come to you, just grab you, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah, the same. Here we have this, the beach, it's closed completely, but we have this passage when it's a run trail.
Mhm.
So we can go, I go run. So as I am isolated running, the policemen, they don't bother me. But depends a little bit. If you cross the city, as I do more or less 10 to 15 kilometers running, as you cross the city, my city is very small, where I live inside Lisbon, I live in the beach city. So when you cross the city, the policeman tells you to come back. But they don't bother that more than that, you know. If you are at a car, you have to have a paper to say to them or to prove to them that you have to go to work really. But as doctors, we can go. We are free to go,
Yeah.
right? So
Right,
here in
right.
Lisbon, people are getting a little bit sick to be at home. It's hard because people are not used to do online things. We have internet so long already, but people are not used to work online.
Well,
So I see
probably the
people.
society is such that they just living at a slower pace and that people are enjoying life. There's no rush. You know, I haven't been to Portugal, but I assume that it might be somewhere close to Spanish culture, right?
More or
Uh,
less, yeah, we have history together before,
do you
but
have siesta?
Portuguese are very different from the Spanish people, you know, very different in temperament. They are more calm. They are not so party people, but they are really hard workers, sympathetic, welcoming people. And Lisbon, second the Monaco magazine last year, we are in Lisbon, the 10th
Mhm.
best quality life city to live.
Okay.
So we have sunny days mostly every day. We have beach, we have city, we have a cosmopolite society now because in 2004 until 2009, the crisis, we didn't have so many mixed people. Now we have a lot of different foreign people and we are mixed
Diversity.
together in a very beautiful multicultural city. It's amazing to live here.
Sounds like a great place to come. Do you have siesta there? You know, the
No, I
rest,
don't
no
have that.
siesta. Oh,
Some
shucks.
people do that, but it's not like Spain, you know. Here, the people, they work, but they begin very late. I'm a Brazilian from São Paulo, big city, you know. So I am used to start my working at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. And people here, they start at 10 and 10 and 15, they have coffee.
Oh, nice. I love this lifestyle. I love this lifestyle. Correct me if I'm wrong. São Paulo has the heaviest intercity helicopter traffic in the world.
Yeah, you are right. Because you have a traffic that is crazy. Can you imagine? Just in the center of the city, we have more or less more than 15 million people.
Yeah, so people are flying helicopters within the city because you just can't beat the traffic otherwise.
Yeah.
That's insane. How many years did you live there?
Well, in São Paulo, I lived there more or less until I was 22 when I left Brazil,
Mhm.
and now I'm 44. So I
Are you
most
going back once in a
remember.
while? Going
No,
back?
I never go back to Brazil because I just have my mother. My mother lives there, but we can connect through Skype and she can come here. And I don't have any connections anymore to Brazil. My life is in Europe, mostly in Germany and Portugal and Spain and Italy. So I
Mhm.
don't have more or less connections to Brazil anymore, but I love Sao Paulo. It's my city. It's in my heart.
So Rio and São Paulo, I've never been to Brazil, you know, but I would love to. But it's pretty different, right? Each city in Brazil is has its own distinct culture And in terms of safety, also in crime, also pretty much different, is it?
Yeah, it's a Latin America, but it's the biggest country there, the best economy. We have so many problems with the politicians and so on, criminality. But I think it's overwhelmed at the media. How Brazil runs the things, it's not so like that. For example, the criminality is a normal criminality to when we speak about big cities and big countries. In São Paulo, it's best, is better kind of way of living because people are more cultured, and criminality is lower than the other parts in Brazil. We have a big city, but criminality is not so hard. It's hard, but not so hard.
Have you been to other countries in South America? Have you been to Colombia?
Yeah, I've been in a lot of places. You know, you cannot compare because they are very small comparing to Brazil. The Uruguay, for example, was the best city, the best country, not city, the best country. Montevideo was the best city, but now it's beginning to have criminality also. You know, it's over every part. The Brazil is struggling with unemployment because we have for 16 years the left running Brazil, and they just destroyed a little bit the economy, but now we are recovering.
Well, that's what they're good for, you know. Well, that's the inherent nature of the left, you know. You just come to where it's good and just destroy, you know. I mean, yeah,
that's my thought too.
Friedrich Nietzsche has described that 150 years ago, you know. He predicted that, you know, in the middle of 19th century. So.
Yeah. And speaking about São Paulo too, São Paulo is very cosmopolite. We have more than 120 nationalities living together. You know, we have a small city inside São Paulo called Liberdade, which is freedom in English, just from the Japanese people. They came after the Second World War, and we have the most concentration of Japanese after Japan.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah,
I should go there, definitely. I've been to Colombia. Out of the entire South America, I've been to Colombia. I've been to Medellin and Bogota and all. That's amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful.
It's amazing. The food mostly is very good, but I think Colombia is more concentrated in their culture. You know, they are smaller. Brazil has so many different culture, even the accent. For example, the people from São Paulo, they understand everything. Of course, it's in Portuguese, but there are so many words that we cannot understand if we speak with people from the north. São Paulo is in the more or less the southwest, and if we speak with people from the north, even the food we never saw. Kind of fruits they have in Amazonas, for example, you know, it's so
I want to go to Amazon because I want to learn the shamanic medicine, you know, because it's like more than 10,000 years old, you know, and there's so much wisdom there. And the diversity of the plants and all the nature and species which you have in South America and Amazon is like nowhere else. So if you want to prepare herbal medicine, you know, something like that, that should be the place where you do that. You know, one day.
You know where I saw. You're right, but you know where I saw a lot of knowledge in phytotherapy? Once I was doing my PhD in immunology, and I went to Africa to develop a hospital there. Oh, wow. So I stayed there for 2 months working with malaria.
Where in Africa? I was just talking to my friend, Dr. Eric Fleischman, and he was working on the Ebola, you know, and malaria and all that stuff in Africa. Where exactly? Which country have you been to?
So I went to the Prince Island, which was part from the Portugal colony. You know, they speak Portuguese and Criollo, which is their language. You know, I was doing my PhD and I wanted to go to Africa. So during my PhD, I went there to develop a hospital and to work with the genetics of malaria. And they have there a very high epidemic of malaria. Right? So I went there to develop everything. It was very, very, very poor. The hospital didn't have any air. No, they robbed most of 70% of our medicine that we brought there was completely stolen. So it was hard to be there, but amazing. The Chinese people, they got a connection to that island too. And they came there to teach acupuncture. The doctors there, because as we didn't have any medicine, we had to understand how to work without medicine, right?
Right,
So
right. Well, you
they
don't have
came
other
there.
alternatives.
Yeah, they came there to teach phytotherapy, and they have there in the island so many different kind of plants that the natives there, they started to teach the doctors how to work with the plants.
Wow. Cool. And
So we
that
get
was, which year was that? In 90s, right? Probably.
was no 2004 I
Oh,
went to
2004.
Africa. 2004, it was the one of the best part of my life, you know, because I could treat the children there. They didn't have anything. Was you feel yourself very proud to be doctor and to because here we have everything, you know. We can eat whatever we want. We can go to the shopping center. We have everything. They don't have anything, nor
How
even
big
a
is the island?
teacher.
How big is the island? How many people there?
I don't. It's the very special thing is 5,000, just 5,000 people. It's
All
a
right.
very small.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a very small community, and they have. This is why I studied malaria there, because they don't mix the genetics so much, because they are
Okay.
there isolated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I came there to treat 5,000, but those 5,000 are very spread in the island. So I had to take a jeep and go through all those parts of the island to tell them to come to me to take blood. And also I was traveling all the island to take blood from the people and asking them to help me. It was really a good work there, field work, very hard, very
Were you part
Indiana
of some
Jones.
organization, or it was your self-funded project, or was
No,
it?
no. I came with the Gulbenkian Institute of Science, one of the best institute of science in Europe and one of the best in the world. I was in the PhD group
Okay.
inside the institute.
Mm-hmm.
So I came with the group, and was an amazing experience. I felt myself like Indiana Jones, you know, really.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, it's better to be like Indiana Jones rather than like Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah, in Africa, I worked a lot. We brought from Africa to Portugal more than 4,000 blood samples. And then here at the
Mm-hmm.
institute, we run all the samples and we published. And well, we worked with the malaria there. I couldn't come back because they've closed everything. It
Okay.
was really,
Okay.
really sad.
You know this thing about the like biological roots or the biological necessity of any disease. For example, like the sickle cell anemia or thalassemia gene actually is the biological protective mechanism against malaria. So if
Yeah,
you have the gene, then you are less susceptible, high chances that you will survive and all. But because it's a recessive gene, so if you're homozygote, then you develop the full-blown disease, and of course, which is not good, and a short lifespan and plenty of complications. But if you are just the carrier, it means that you're less sensitive to malaria, all those kind of
yeah, that's interesting. I was studying, especially in the genetics of malaria, a protein that can prevent, once the woman is pregnant, to pass the malaria to the children. Because children until 2 years, they will die from malaria. But
things. Okay.
afterwards, they can live with. They
Mm-hmm.
can deal with the immunity and they can deal with the malaria until growing up. So I saw people like 70, 60 years old with a lot of episodes of malaria, no dying. But the children with this protein passed from the mother to them
Yeah.
until 2 years old, they would die. So I could develop a anti-protein that could block this passage from malaria from the mother to the children.
Okay. Okay. Wow,
That
that's
was my
amazing. Was that a part of immunotherapy? Can you call it immunotherapy?
yeah, you can call immunotherapy. This is my area. I love to do immunotherapy. This is why I work with the European Wellness
Yeah. Yeah.
Academy,
Yeah.
and we do that all the time. And I am very keen to work with all the immunotherapy that is being developed until today.
About this, the malaria, I was talking to Eric Fleischman, Dr. Eric, my friend, and he was telling me that hydrochloroquine and hydroxychloroquine, you can just go and buy in a pharmacy. It's like for sale everywhere. He was saying like the 7-Eleven, those, or like something, stuff like that, they just all openly sell it because the necessity to take that medication is like huge. So it's true. What drugs did you use to treat that? What did they
Well,
have?
this is the mefloquine, exactly the same. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the only thing is people in these countries like Africa, they are so immunized already. You know, they don't need any chloroquine. Just us as doctors, as white people that go to Africa and to work with them, we need that kind of protection, but they don't need it all because immunity
Mm-hmm.
is mixing up knowledge. You know, when you touch people, you mix with their genetics, everything.
Right.
When we speak, we change bacteria, we change probiotics, so we get immunity. I am a defensor of people getting mixed up. Every
Okay.
time that we speak with other cultures, we take those genetics from the other
It's
cultures and
directly
we start
opposite to
to like,
social distancing. Well, I'm with you absolutely. You know, I'm with you. Plus, yeah, I love contact with people. I love shake hands. I love hugging people. You know, it's
yeah.
I think this is normal. I mean, not everyone, of course, but with whom you work close, you know, share some ideas and all friendship. You know, and
Yeah, speaking, for example, speaking about the COVID, for example, there are different theories. My theory is the most ancient theory. You just have to go, of course, protected, but you have to mix, you have to speak, you have to be in contact, because therefore you can get immunized. This is why we developed, this is why we strived during the years, you know. If you are isolated all the time, I
mhm.
understand the isolation protocol, but if you are locked down all the time, how can you be immunized? You know,
Yes,
that's my idea.
yeah, yeah. So, if say when kids are growing and developing, what would you recommend to parents? To vaccinate them more, or to let them be exposed to what essentially you and me were exposed when we were kids, you know, to the outdoor activities and playing in
Yeah.
the ground and getting cuts and all just once in a while, you know, and catching the same flu and all those infections like everyone else and just being sick for a few days and after that you're all right. So uh, from your point of view and the modern immunology, not the immunology that was described 100 years ago, what is best for human body now, and especially for the growing human body? And what's your take on vaccines?
It's a tricky question. It can be divided in parts. For example, when we were kids, I think we were happier in a way that we could go outside and play a lot, you know, and mix with people
Yeah.
and kids and I say play with the cat sand, you know, all this
Cats and
dirty
yes,
sand
yes,
from the
yes.
cat and of course and mixed with all other brothers that had like varicella, zoster, and so on. We got all the
Got
problems,
all
we
of it.
got all the
Yeah.
infections for a few days, and it was fine. Today, the society became very, very isolated. Everybody are living in small apartments. They have cars. They have everything protected. This is not good in the point of view of immunity. And therefore, the society now has a lot of more dirtiness, for example, pollution and
Mm-hmm.
metals and so on. So it's a tricky question because isolation is okay, but not okay. You know, if you go outside, you have so many problems to deal with, like metals, pollution, and so on, and at the food you eat,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And I think vaccination depends, but I think it's a lot more, you know, so much things stimulating people can overreacting in the terms of immunity. The autoimmune disease can be developed from that, you know, so much
yeah,
stimuli all the time in a person that was brought to life in an isolated house. That's
yeah,
what I mean, you know.
yeah.
So
Especially when there is some pre-existing condition, like there's so many people with rheumatoid arthritis, and after they get the seasonal flu vaccines, they have flare up like instantly. You know, I
yeah,
have cases when people flare up like within the same day, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes after injection, and then you can't do anything. You know, they became refractory to, I mean, just to the medication and all, and steroids. It's not working anymore just after one
yeah,
influenza. And then it's
we have
about
so
15,
many.
17 years ago, a few years ago, and it's published, published in a peer-reviewed journal. The clinical trial study was done on the Department of Defense personnel in the United States of America. They've compared the frequency and the severity of the seasonal flu, including the coronavirus infections after the influenza vaccination, and it's like 30 or 40% higher after vaccination. And then there was another study I was reading just a couple of days ago, says that a repeated multiple vaccinations in a younger age increases your chances and the severity of influenza when you actually catch it when you're becoming older. So it's all published out there, you know. The problem of today is that people start paying less attention to scientific discoveries, and in the same time, there's so many put it this way, biased scientists, yes, fake news and biased scientists who just lobby some political or commercial interests, you know, and they will promote on a large scale through media, you know, and all that stuff. Well, it's horrible. For example, when they reported the first infant who passed away because of COVID-19, there was one of the news agencies, I don't want to mention which exactly, they've reported that, but they have deleted, or they missed the fact that it was a 22-week premature baby. You know, of course, you cannot expect the same survival rate when you have a premature baby with an immature immune system and all. It's just not fair to include that in statistic and bring up on the news that you're going to show that to millions of people without giving an explanation to that. You are giving them the wrong message. You are telling part of the truth, part of the fact. You know, so it's horrible what the medicine, some institutions and authorities in medicine are doing now, in a way, including the WHO and stuff. You know, and it's horrible that the news are doing, you know, so it's very important that there is a connection between people, between the experts and just the public and everyone, and there's a free exchange of knowledge, there's a free speech, well, of course, in rational limits to that, you know, but we have to hear each other. You know, we cannot just shut people up or shut some group of scientists up, you know, those who do something like immunotherapy, for example, or give privilege or preference to some type of immunotherapy. So speaking of immunotherapy, yeah, yes, please.
Yeah, sorry. For example, if as you know, you do too, we have several kind of different immunotherapy, natural immunotherapy, even in at the European Wellness Academy. So, for example, the active specific immunotherapy is made from the blood, the autologous blood from the patients. We can take the blood from the patients, we can separate all those cells, we can make antibodies, we can make all the best autologous personalized vaccine to them, and naturally they can modulate their immunity. Speaking about that, people, my patients, they ask me why the hospital don't do that for general treatments. For sure they could do, but can you imagine 1 million people doing autologous immunotherapy?
Yeah.
You know, so of course the doctors board, they limit all those kind of natural immunotherapy. They want to develop monoclonal antibodies. The monoclonal antibodies are just one kind of antibody that is developed. And once the bacteria or whatever, they change all the time, those monoclonal antibodies, they won't work anymore, you know, because they are not variable.
Yeah.
That's the point, you know, we have to understand that medicine is not just what they speak about. We have to hear each other. As you say, a lot of people have to think differently to become a better knowledge in the world. You know, I don't trust so much the conventional treatments, just that, exactly because there are too biased.
Absolutely. In the modern day, the doctor in a conventional healthcare system became just the pharmacist who has opened the counter and just selling drugs, you know, put it this way, selling products of the pharmaceutical industry. And that's the reality. That's the reality. Yeah. I'm a conventional doctor, you know, which in the past, put it this way, put 16 years of my life on that. And yeah, as a former conventional doctor, is without doubt, it is like that. And
for example,
what we need,
I have one example. I was studying at my master's science and a PhD. I was studying transplantation immunology. That was my thesis. right? I did work with malaria, but was not my main thesis. My main thesis is in immunology for transplantation. So I was working in the recovering of the transplanted people, and mainly at the bone marrow transplantation. So I used to see the natural killers, which are the first cells to arrive there to give best immunity to people. As faster as the natural killers come, better is the immunity or immunity recovery.
Yeah,
So
because it's an
I
innate
was
immunity.
yes, I was
Immunity
working
antigen presenting cell. Yeah.
yeah, after the transplantation, what I did a boost of vitamin C endovenously. With the conventional medicine, the conventional treatment, I was used to do vitamin C, high doses vitamin C IV at the hospital.
What do
And
you
they
call high
allowed,
dose vitamin C? How much? Because different people, they define differently. For somebody, it's 1 gram or 3 gram is a high dose, and people are
yeah,
giving
it
20 or
depends.
40 gram
Yeah.
maybe.
If you speak about pharmaceutical, you have to go a little bit higher than 15 grams, pharmaceutically speaking. If you are doing, for example, just to complement or make it better something, it's can be until 5 grams. But normally IVs have they have to be very high doses, more than 15, to have a very fast results in 72 hours.
Okay.
But you have, of course, to pay attention in a lot of stuff, because you have, for sure, side effects, because this vitamin C became a pharmaceutical once you have high doses.
Okay.
It's not more so natural. But even though the vitamin C was performed at the hospital and people were getting more better natural killers, faster and more active, so easy and cheap treatment can make people's life better and very fast. That's what I mean. You don't have to forget the conventional medicine, but you have to integrate with a good scientific knowledge with the cheaper and most natural treatment possible. That's what I'm defending today.
Are you taking yourself vitamin C?
Yeah, I do take IVs. I don't take orally.
Okay.
Because orally it's okay, it's good, but you have to understand that the gut absorption is limited. So I prefer to do IVs and not every day. Of course, for example, once a month, I do take some vitamin C endovenously with B complex, minerals, and amino acids. And I do also practice a lot of exercises. So as an athlete that I was, as a ballet dancer, and today I continue to do workout every single day. So I have to organize very well my diet.
So apart from, are you taking zinc? Apart from
I didn't hear.
Zinc. Are you taking zinc supplements?
Yeah, zinc every day, because zinc is good to block the aromatase. And for us, after 40s or after 35s, andropause is coming, so we have to understand a little bit those kind of hormonal balance.
So palmetto is also working. It's about the same mechanism of action.
Yeah. I do take a lot of minerals and also modulators of the hormones to make me the best performer I can be, to show to my patients, because you have to be the example that the longevity doesn't depend on age, depends on mind first, and secondly, way of life. And I do treat myself as I treat my patients, because I want to be my example.
Wonderful, brother. I'm absolutely with you on this. I'm doing the same. I was trying to sort of biohack my organism since I was 13 years old. And I've tried multiple methods, and I consider it 29 years that I'm doing that. It's really incredible. And the more I try, the more I read, the more I find, the more I try, I find the actual peculiarities of how it works and all. And I've literally tried everything, what I offer to other people, or what I teach or advocate or educate or whatever. So zinc, how much are you taking zinc?
Well, if you are, you have to understand age, right? Age.
Yeah.
You have to understand the physical active performance, your objectives, and your previous history. So I do take like a 20 or 30 milligrams of zinc every day. with metformin, which is conventional medicine, but is also very interesting in the lower doses. Metformin in lower doses, it's already known to regulate the telomeres, which are the arms of the chromosomes, no, or for the other to the other people to understand us. So it's the arms from the chromosomes that prevent the chromosomes to be shortened. As you have bigger telomeres, you live longer. So metformin is proved to perform that. And I do take lower dose of metformin with chromium and all the stuffs to regulate the sugar. So I am really keen on those kind of things, you know.
I'm taking zinc also 30 mg per day. It's a bit high. Well, the dose, and then again, the conventional recommended dose is about 8 to 11, depends on males, females, 15, but 30 is okay. Even 40 is fine, but then if you take more, you might have some abdominal cramps and all, and it may also interfere with copper absorption, so you got to be careful. But the reason why I think the zinc is so important now, because one of the mechanism of action of hydroxychloroquine is that it increases the influx, intracellular influx of zinc into the RBC, which is infected by the coronavirus. And then the zinc, intracellular zinc, it activates the inhibitor of the, or put it this way, inhibits the aromatase, the RNA transcriptase. So literally, it just prevents the virus, the strand, the RNA strand, to spread, and to replicate itself. So it's debatable still. You can argue about it. I think we just need to look at have a small trial, you know, with and without zinc, and look at the viral load.
You cannot forget, you know, you cannot forget that zinc also boosts the CD4, which are the best T cells that we have, right? So zinc, the normal World Health Organization advice on the dose of zinc is for people that have zinc deficiency. Is the minimum doses that you can take to not be deficient. We who are defending the best regenerative medicine in the world, we say, okay, but if you already have the minimum, how much do you have to be really protected, to be optimized? That is the dose that we are talking about. Optimization, not just deficient or not deficiency. You know, if you are optimized on the doses, most of people, they have to take a little bit higher doses, as we are doing now.
So you mentioned telomeres. Did you have you checked your own telomeres? Did you measure it?
Never, you know, never. You know why?
Why?
I think I don't want to know too much about myself. You know? It's like just like that. Okay. I prefer life to be doing its natural curve. You know?
But I've done that to myself. And I did that 4 months ago. But I didn't do it just because of no reason. The reason why I've done that, I actually did the full epigenetic test. I did the genetic profiling, and I did the telomere length, everything. So I've done that after being about almost 1.5 years on my personal program that I was doing to myself. And as a result of that program, I have lost 27 kilograms of fat.
Wow.
27 kilo of fat, because I have all the proofs. I have all the serials of blood investigations, my complete biochemistry, my full hormonal profile that I was like doing 3 to 4 months, every 3 to 4 months. Then I've done the genetic epigenetic test, and I've done the body composition test. So I burned 27 kilo of fat. I have my lean muscle mass is 127 or 128% of what's supposed to be in my age and my height according to my BMI. And also I'm absolutely like in a lower normal range of my visceral and subcutaneous fat. So my epigenetic test and the length of my telomeres are 130% longer than they're supposed to be in my 130% longer than they were supposed to be in my age group and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed with my biological age. It's only 34. I wanted it to be like less than 30 because I'm telling everyone, well, you know, I'm 29. That's how I feel, but I'm telling everyone that I feel like 18. You know, so I'm
Yeah.
just trying not to cut off another 10 years. But so when I saw that my biological age is 34, I'm like, okay, never mind. But on the other hand, it's an indicator that I have to continue doing what I'm doing. So the next time when I'm going to do my test next year, I want to be like 31 or 30 years old.
For sure. I did bioimpedances. I do all the time bioimpedances because I have a personal training. And
Okay, explain. You have to explain what it means because
so
this thing, yeah.
this is the same, you know, the bioimpedancy is the same that you did. You go to this scale, which has resonances by the hand and by the feet, right?
Okay,
So
okay.
they can measure everything, biological age, everything, not the telomeres, but a lot of things. So I have 7% of fat in my body, and everything else is muscles. So
With a bit of
genetic
bones and brains, please.
bones
Bones and
and
brains.
you know, this is what I'm telling. I don't do the telomeres thing, but I do measure myself in the bioimpedancy, and I have this personal training. He's very tough with me. We do exercise almost every day together, and we are really focused on athletes and performance optimization and enhancement. So it's the same, you know, biological age. It's a little bit it's not so important. What's important is how you feel, how you
Right,
can overcome your obstacles. You
right.
know, every day I can challenge myself. Even today, as I was a ballet dancer, I was last year in St. Petersburg, Mariinsky Theater, and I was working with those guys, and I was
Where is that?
43.
That's in Leipzig, right?
Mariinsky,
That's
St.
a
Petersburg, Russia, one of the best
oh,
theaters
oh.
in the world, Mariinsky.
Oh, okay. Oh, Mariinsky. All right, all right. Mariinsky Theater, right?
Yeah, one of the best or the best opera for ballet in the world. It's the
What
Mariinsky
year
from
was that? What year was that? What year was that?
last year. I went 2 years consecutively. So the last year I was in St. Petersburg with the ballet dancers, helping a brother, a very good friend of mine that danced in Leipzig with me. He's the ballet master there, and I was with him to help
Incredible.
those dancers. I was in the stage 43 and feeling amazing. And those guys, 20s, they couldn't keep up with me, you know, because I do other sports, not just
Well,
ballet.
but that's a thing. That's a thing about professional sports and all. There's so many professional athletes who do not end up really well. You know, they either overtrain themselves, they damage their joints, they damage their back. And then the ballet, I believe it's something very challenging. Yeah, you have to walk on those the tiptoes, right, and stuff like that. So you have to be like probably extremely crippled joints, right, by
Yeah,
some
the
particular age.
men they do not do those tiptoes. You know, we jump more and turn,
Okay.
and we lift to people. You know, those women.
But
So
those the belly dancer ladies, they are what, like some 20 kilo,
yeah,
25 kilogram. Yeah, they're just
no, they are like
featherweight.
max. They are more or less 50 kilos. So you have
Okay.
to be able to lift this kind of weight, you know, and lightly.
And being slim and fit in the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
can't be just too bulky,
Yeah,
right?
so now the speaking about dance, now it's different. You know, at my time, we did just do ballet, but now
Okay.
they do CrossFit. All the dancers, they swim, they do CrossFit, they do Pilates, they do a lot of different kind of sports to be the best in dance. The
Uh,
sports now are different, you know. The athletes, they don't have to be just on their main sport. They have to
yeah,
be more. They have to be wider in other kind of skills.
yeah,
This
yeah.
makes the
Learn new
best
tricks.
younger people. You know, it's just like
Okay.
us. You know, if we run one day, if you do gym another day, if you walk the other day and swim the other day, every different thing can give you different skills. This is the same in immunity or in biology. You become more adapted to stress. That's the
Hmm.
main key to be younger, you know, not to
Yes.
be stressed and be adapted to stress. Is the same.
Impaired stress adaptation, or impaired adaptation to stress and impaired stress responses are one of the 7 hallmarks or the drivers of aging. So yeah, absolutely. Of course, on the level of the biochemistry, on the cellular level, and just the general as a body, the ability to tolerate bullshit, But although, as we live, as we, not to say becoming older, but as we age, I think we're also learning, we're becoming wiser sometimes, so you don't react on certain things. You try not to take all that stress to your mind, you try to compensate and tune yourself. So how do you exercise? Like, do you exercise every day? What do you do?
Yeah, every single day. As I told you, I have this personal trainer. And now in the lockdown, I never stay sedentary. For example, every day I wake up at 6 a.m. and I go to inside my house. I have a room where I have all those slam balls. Those balls that you can slam on the floor. Yeah. Okay, I have different kind of slam balls. I have V6 bars. I have TRX. I have so many stuff, but very easy stuff to move. Yeah. And then I do perform like 45 minutes in high intensity training, which is heat. Yeah. Very important for the aging people, because you can grow up your calories burning, and you also adapt to stress very fast if you do heat. It's proved already the best exercise for aging. So I do heat more or less alternated with running. So
I don't run.
Yeah,
but one day you don't have a problem with joints and the knee joints, I just not to say that I have, my joints are okay, but I know that this jogging and all, I do high intensity training every day, and especially now, with this lockdown. Do you remember during the conference, it was like maybe 3 years ago or something, and then we're fixing a meeting next day, and you said, no, 7 a.m. I can't make it because I'll be in the gym, and I'm like, really? Yeah. I mean, who the hell goes on the conference there at 7 a.m. to gym? And you're like, yeah, that's what I do every day. So you do in the morning, right? I can't exercise, although you have the highest testosterone level in the morning hours, like between 6 to 9. But I can't exercise, early in the morning.
Yeah,
you do exercise.
Depends a little bit on the adaptation of the circadian cycle. In the morning, as you told perfectly, the cortisol is in the higher level, and you function better in the morning. Best if you do not eat before going to the gym. If you can go in fasting, is better, because the burning of the calories and the adaptation to stress improves your concentration afterwards, for example. And the muscle can grow up very, very, very fast. So I do that in the morning, but there are people more adapted to the night. If they sleep well, that's the thing. If they sleep well, it's fine. But if they do a lot of exercise to be stressed and very fatigued afterwards, they won't sleep and they won't develop growth hormones, because the insulin will oscillate too much, and it's a short time before the exercise and after to go to sleep, So it's so short time in the night that people cannot develop growth hormones or regulate the insulin or leptin. But depends, if you are more used to go to do your workout in the night, the circadian cycle will be adapted too. So it's fine. As much as you sleep well, it's okay.
Do you intermittent fasting?
Yeah, I do that, but not every day. I do more than 16 or 18 hours fasting, but not every day. I have a privilege to have a girlfriend who is a nutritionist, a very good functional nutritionist from Brazil, and she lives with me and she does my diet. And this is a good thing to meet and to be boyfriend to a nutritionist. It's amazing.
So that's a great choice.
Yeah, she told me to not do intermittent fasting every day. Why? Exactly because of the adaptation. If you do every day, your body won't respond anymore.
Yeah. Well, the same thing. You were talking you mentioned metformin. I'm taking metformin as well for a bunch of reasons. Of course, to keep the sugar level as low as possible. A second reason it's an AMPK activator, the adenosine monophosphate protein kinase
Exactly.
activator. So it's one of those longevity genes and all. And there is data that it's up to 30% less risk or occurrence of cancer in a lifespan, those who take metformin versus those who do not take. However, and also it works as a fast and mimicking drug. A lot of people take it because you have no time, or maybe you're too lazy to fast. That's why you mimic the same effects of the fasting with metformin. However, there's been a bit of data that males and females do not respond to metformin in the same way, put it this way. Ladies do benefit. The cardiovascular risk of cardiovascular disease is less. The lifespan is less by like some 20%, you know, it's even more than that. But the guys are not that great. So what they found out is that one of the side effects of metformin is that it blocks the formation, the proliferation of mitochondria. So if you are doing heavy physical exercise, heavy gym at the same time, and I gotta tell you that I was taking metformin for 1 year, 2 months, non-stop, okay? Non-stop at minimum 1000 mg per day. In that case, I call it when I was taking it instead of my dinner. If I had something during my last meal or dinner, because, well, I'm on intermittent fasting anyway, you know, so let's call it dinner. So I will increase the dose of metformin even to 1.6. Right. You know, so what I found out that it was a bit difficult for me to perform the same in the gym as without metformin. Although my muscles became stronger, okay, it better endurance, but I could not grow muscle mass. Okay. So after that, I stopped metformin and I was off from metformin for more than 3 months. And I was doing the same physical exercise. I managed to grow quite a significant amount of muscle, the lean muscle, the bulk, you know. Yeah. And after I've achieved that, I'm back on metformin again since the lockdown have started. Okay, and I'm doing the heavy physical exercise every day. I have those huge dumbbells here, you know, I'm doing like hundreds of push-ups, you know, and the high intensity training like crazy, you know, every day.
Yeah, and the same.
Yeah, and I see that my muscles do not grow again. You know, I'm trying to balance my diet, nutrition, and lots of protein, lots of fat, and zero carbs, and stuff like that. You know, but I'm not, and it's getting me a bit more and more tougher to exercise, less endurance after this 1 month. So that's a metformin, you know, that's why it's best, I believe, that you take treatment in cycles. You don't just keep on pushing yourself and shoving the same old drug into yourself all the time. You know, the principle of hormesis is based on that, you know, give a cycle, adaptation.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, it's a very interesting thing that you are telling, and I will add something if you allow me. For example, I do take just 250 milligrams, which is very low dose of metformin, but I have a formula that I'm taking every day. It calls mitochondria boosting. So you are very, very, very into the point of the mitochondria development. We know that the mitochondria is the main thing. Is the most important thing in our body. You know, ATP, oxygen, apoptosis, everything that the mitochondria does, it's the most important thing. So the spreading of the mitochondria depending very much on the metformin and other stuff. So I do take a formula, which is the mitochondria boost. It's very important to complement the metformin, and I have to tell you that I do take also SARMs cycles, which are the selective androgen receptors modulators.
Okay, tell me more about that. What exactly? Is it a self-formulated or it's a ready-made product?
No, it's already made. The mitochondria boosting is a self-made.
How do you do it if it's not a secret?
The pharmacies here we can develop our formula.
Compound in pharmacy, right? So what are the main ingredients there? If it's not a secret,
more or less,
just
it's like the mitochondria are 2 capsules, the A and the B, and we have most of PKK, which is PKK, a very good mitochondria. Coenzyme Q10, NADH. 80,
okay. I'm taking it separately. Yeah.
And the SARMs, it's another group. You know, it's a not completely natural product. It's
It doesn't
most of
matter. Everything is natural. I don't believe in that natural and natural stuff. You know, he's building a house naturally. Yeah, he's making chairs. You know, the spectacles. Is it natural? Yeah. So forget about it. As long as it doesn't harm you, and as long as it makes you better, happier,
yeah.
more endurance, it's all fine. No limits. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about this. I'm curious
Tell
to
me
hear.
the SARM thing. The SARMs are the selective androgen receptors modulators. They
Okay.
mimetize androgens and they mimetize steroids, but they are not steroids,
Okay.
right?
Is it
They
like
are
bioidenticals?
but more or less identicals, but they are not hormones. What they do is to recognize the receptors of the testosterone and modulate naturally those molecules and those receptors to enhance the muscle and optimize the athlete performances. So the
Give the
SARMs are
example. Give the
yeah.
example.
The SARMs are very big groups of several different names. Okay, they have been developed from the 70s, but were more famous on the 90s. The athletes were taking that because the SARMs was not doping. Okay, but today it's becoming a doping because it's an enhancer. For example, we have one that can mimetize the androgens steroids. So what they do is like they do enhance the muscle, they burn fat, but they are not dangerous as the steroids. For example, if you compare the steroids to testosterone, is like that: 100 times more muscles, 100 times more testosterone. It's like that. But the SARMs, they do make the effect of the 100 times of the testosterone, but lower risk, like 90% lower risk of the steroids, comparing with the steroids, right? So if you take the cycles, there are different kind of cycles. The SARMs are developed to heal Alzheimer's, for example. They have been developed to lower the cholesterol. They are not being developed to optimize the athletes, but the athletes discovered that by taking them, the muscle could grow and the fat could be burned.
Okay, I gotta ask you this. It's really I want to know this. Yeah, it's for me, and I believe for everyone to hear that. It will be very interesting to hear as well, to know as well. Does it improve your libido? Does it enhance libido?
Yeah, there is one that can enhance your libido, like the RAD 140, RAD 140, which is a very one of the most powerful SARMs. They enhance the muscles and they grow a little bit the libido. But the problem is if you are not understanding your biochemistry, these SARMs can block the testosterone level. And the testosterone can be lower because they are selective androgen receptors modulators. They will compete a little bit with the testosterone.
So it's
receptor.
competitive, right? They're competitive.
Yeah, they are competitive.
So really. What to do after that? Well, first of all, take a cycle. Yeah, don't whack that stuff all the time non-stop for years, right? Because negative feedback, you know, it's gonna suppress your endogenous production, gonna block the receptors. Exactly. So you take a cycle, right? But then when you're off the cycle, you're gonna have that throwback, and then you're gonna feel horrible. Yeah. So inevitably, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, the drawback is not like the steroids, because it's very slightly the effects in comparison with the steroids. But of course, you have to do the post cycle. What I do take in the post cycle, after 3 months on cycle, I have 1 off cycle, 1 month off cycle, right? So every 2 months I have 1 month off. This 1 month off, I do take aromatase inhibitors like cresine or urtica dioica or finasteride or L-carnitine, all those the detoxifying and also inhibitor of the aromatase stuff. I do have to take that, but I don't feel bad even if I don't take anything. But of course,
tamoxifen, do you have to take tamoxifen?
Yeah, tamoxifen maybe, depending on the analysis. For example, 20 milligrams of tamoxifen or clamid or stuff like that, you know. But I do or anastrozole too. But what I do take really are phytotherapy and mitochondria booster, zinc, magnesium, those kind of things can detoxify you naturally, and you don't have to take so many pharmaceuticals. But of course, depending on the blood analysis, that I do the profile, all the hormonal profile I perform to understand myself, to see how much I can go with the cycles.
Yeah, well, that's a real biohacking, you know. I've worked out this particular scheme in my personal approach to understanding how to treat the organism, you know. So I think that the core point here is the proper understanding of the metabolic terrain. So as long as you have a complete understanding what sort of biochemical reaction are you going to interfere with the substance that you administer, whether it will be one of the components of the biochemical reaction or whether it's going to be a catalyst. You know, that is very important to understand. And that's why I believe people like you and me are actually needed in the world out there, because this is probably not the rocket science, but let us be honest, it's close to be a rocket science. If you look at the biochemical terrain and the metabolic terrain and landscape of the body, it's well, it's like flying an aircraft, you know, at least, or building and flying an aircraft. You know, you're gonna spend like 6 to 9 years just educating yourself with medical school, university, postgrad, undergrad, and all that stuff, you know, and the PhDs, before you will just scratch the understanding of it. And it's so deep. Yeah, well, I'm absolutely into this. Now, how about what's your take on vitamin D?
Yeah, I do take 10,000 unities with the K2, 200 micrograms.
Okay. Yeah. The transport system for the.
Yeah. Even if I have Sunny every day in Portugal, we are mostly inside working, right?
Yes.
So even if I go every day to the beach and stay there 1 hour running, I don't think I could have as much as vitamin D.
You gotta do naked running. Yeah, that's the only way.
Really,
naked.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Otherwise, if you wear the clothes on, it's just not gonna work.
Yeah, unfortunately, in Portugal we cannot run naked. So
I think you're going there.
Yeah, I would like to do that, but I think I would go to the prison if I do that. So I do take 10,000 of vitamin D and K2 200 micrograms. And as I see my analysis, I have 50 nanograms per milliliter, which is the optimization of the vitamin D. It's the best level you can have, you know. So this is why I'm telling you, every day I have sun, and if I don't take the vitamin D, I don't reach the 50.
Mm-hmm. Do you take the vitamin D with food together or after meal?
I do take after the breakfast, but even as I do fasting, it's kind of complicated to me. You know, I do not eat, so I do take the vitamins without eating. But I do advise people, if they are, for example, having the breakfast, to take afterwards. It's best.
Yeah,
it's more absorbed, right?
Yeah. Because I compared myself taking the same vitamins when I'm fasting, without meal and after meal. There's a big, tremendous difference. So never take it without meal. Take it either during or immediately after meal, because otherwise half of the stuff that you're gonna take will not be absorbed. Secondly, I do intermittent fasting every day, but I don't have the same hours. So it's like alternate days. I either start early or I start very late. So if on the day that I'm starting late, so my last meal may be like 8 o'clock. So the next day, my meal will be sometime in the afternoon, usually like 2 p.m. I sometimes, on some days, I have my first and the last meal at like 5 or 6 p.m. And I will still take.
Yeah, this is the same, you know, Dmytro. I do take my meal. My last meal is at 6 p.m. And normally I will go to sleep 9 p.m. I sleep very early because I wake up very early. I am very disciplined on my sleeping hygiene, you know. So sleep well and do intermittent fasting, as you told me, differently every day, in different timing every day. I think it's the best way to go, you know. Not every day doing the same thing is not good, but sleeping is a discipline. That is the thing, you know. You have to sleep normally the same hours to disciplinize your body. As much as you eat well, you can do fasting differently, you can do heat differently, you can eat properly, you are fine, you are younger forever.
Yeah, true. But then, of course, it's important not to eat immediately before you go to bed and all. Not just
Yeah.
because you'll have that full tummy, that unpleasant sensation and poor sleep, but also because what has been found out is about 10 years ago is that pancreas has melatonin receptors, and melatonin suppresses the production of the overall the function of the pancreas. So in the night time, if you will eat that meal in the night time, it will be twice as harder for you to digest that meal rather than you do it in the daytime. So it'll be more calories produced, yeah, more fat in the end and less benefit. And all.
This is why you have to be attention. Is the fasting thing means that you do have to eat in a very short time being of the day. But however, you have to understand. You have to understand that you have to eat until certain time. Exactly as you told me. I do eat. I eat at 6 p.m. max, but during 30 minutes maximum. So 6:30, I'm already ready, and 9 o'clock p.m. I'm going to sleep. This is a time being, and I think it's the gap that you can digest well because I eat not so much. And you can sleep well. This is the key. In Japanese people, they don't eat so much, right? And
well, it depends. Probably in a sumo school, they do love eating. They wouldn't mind eating. I had a friend. That was like many years ago, more than 20 years ago. I was in a karate camp. It was a summer camp for 6 weeks, so we go in a mountain close to the sea, and I heard a story of a guy who went to the summer camp of the Kyokushinkai founder, the Masatoshi Ayama. Okay, so he was saying that guy, he was forcing them to eat a huge bowl, like a pail of porridge for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, and the people just couldn't eat that. They just ran away and just throw it up, because it's impossible to consume. But he was like, he himself was like a ball, like a square guy, so he wanted his fighters to be huge, so. But of course, yeah. What I said about my 6 p.m. meal is that it's not only the last, but that can be my first meal in a day as well. So I also tell quite often to my patients and people whom I'm talking to, I tell them this particular phrase that you have to understand that you do not have a biological necessity to feed yourself every day.
Yes. Okay? I agree.
Yeah.
You don't have, because remember the Paleolithic life. I don't defend the Paleolithical diet because there is no proper diet. Yeah. The proper diet is adapted to every single person. So there is no fashion here. But as you remember, people were used to not have meals every day. And we don't die because we don't eat. We die because we don't drink.
On the contrary, we survive. We die because we eat too much and we drink too much. That's would be rather a cause of death.
Yeah. Right. So I don't mind to not eat. A little bit socially is kind of weird. For example, if we are at a conference or a congress, we don't eat. People look to you. Why don't you eat? Why don't you do that?
Ronnie, it's coming to the point, brother. It's coming to the point when most of the people that we are rubbing shoulders and roaming around and meeting, and socializing, other people who share the same views as we do, so I have so many people, even in US, the Brian Delaney, once he came to the, we had a dinner together, it was quite an official kind of a thing, and he was only drinking water. And he said, well, guys, because, I take care of my autophagy, so it's like, yeah, of course, man, we're in the same science, in the same industry, it's by default, it's fine, absolutely fine. I have to confess that I'm a night eater, so that's my big problem, and I personally find it a bit difficult to fight with because I stay up until 2 a.m. I can be working until 3 a.m., so I want to match. So I got those nuts, macadamia, and cashews.
Well, you know, one thing that is good about us is that we are not so radical. You know,
Hmm.
things cannot be so radical. If you want to eat pizza, or if you want to go out and drink some beers, man, this is life. You have to enjoy your life. You know, the
Hmm.
thing cannot be the rule
Hmm.
every day, but
Hmm.
it has to be like a price. You know, every day I'm eating properly, I'm doing exercise, but today I'm going to eat pizza. Today I'm going to drink a very beautiful handcrafted beer. I go out and I have to enjoy life. Otherwise, the depression to not be able to be happy will destroy everything that you did good. You know,
Right,
there
right,
is no
right,
point to eat properly, do exercise, and do everyday radical things, and never be happy with other things.
right,
You know,
right,
the happiness
right.
has to be a balance between everything, and you have to enjoy exercise. Cannot be a
Absolutely
sacrifice.
right. Yes, yes. So how do you enjoy life? What's your leisure time?
Well, I for at the beginning, differently of a lot of people, I don't work too much in terms of time. So I do concentrate my work in the from 7 a.m. until 5 p.m. After that, I don't work normally. There are some exceptions, but I don't work after 5 p.m. So after 5 p.m., I have all the day.
All right.
Then
Well,
I can
until 9 only. It's not that much time left, brother.
yeah, I have a lot of time being to go out, to be with my friends, to enjoy myself.
Are you a socialite?
Yeah, a little bit social, right? Because in Portugal people are very social, but as I do work and I do study, I don't have too much time for socializing, but I do have time for me, you know.
Hmm.
Even if
Hmm.
I am just sat at my home, just with closed eyes, listen to jazz music, I'm enjoying myself.
Hmm.
This is the kind of thing that I developed because as I left my home very early and I had to change or to move to different countries, I did understand how to live with myself. So the
You
enjoy
are a
thing
car enthusiast, right? You have some very nice car that some collectible item or
I love.
something that you love very much. What's your current car?
I have a Porsche today. I have a Porsche today, and I love to open the roof
The
and
convertible.
yeah, and drive through Lisbon and also to other countries with the Porsche. I have now a traveling to go to France, to the south of France until Monte Carlo from Lisbon with my car,
Are you
passing through
gonna
the
drive through Andorra, right?
yeah,
And then
yeah,
the whole
and then
south
I
of
go
France.
yeah, yeah, that
I was driving there
traveling, yeah,
From Monaco all the way to Spain towards Barcelona, and then driving back all the way to Germany through the entire France. You know, well, oh man, that's
exactly,
incredible. I've done that. I have
yeah,
Mercedes Benz. It's not new. It's old. It's 18 years old, but it's in a very good condition. And all. It's very powerful. It's a V6 engine, and also now this no traffic, there's no traffic in the city. So whenever I have to go and buy something, I don't break the speed limits or something, but I put my RPM, I keep it somewhere like 5 to
I
6,000 RPM. Wow, that's a
it's amazing
wild beast.
feeling.
The
Yeah.
acceleration, it's like, woo,
Now
fantastic.
I'm thinking I'm taking the license to drive a motorcycle because I want to buy a Ducati, Monster Ducati, this Batman
That's my
motorcycle.
65-year-old plan. When I'm 65, I'm getting myself on the bike. I'm gonna have tattoos like you do. Okay, I have my good friend, Dr. Eric. Also, he said, okay, brother, whenever you're ready, he said, I'll take you to his friend tattoo artist. He said he's gonna hold my hand. So for the
Let's
second one, I'm
combine.
coming. I'm coming to your place
We
for the
have to
second.
meet everybody and pick up our bikes and go out and enjoy our lives
Absolutely,
at the
absolutely.
bike.
What else do you do? Do you do some paragliding, parachuting, scuba diving,
I
any of
do
that
every
stuff?
radical. Yeah, I do perform every radical sport. I love radical sports. I have to. I need the adrenaline because I am I think I'm fixed on adrenaline. You
Yep.
know, this is my drug, and I have to do every radical thing. Even if I go to Paris, I have to go to the Disney World to go to the to the roller clusters. You know,
Oh, the roller
I
coaster. Oh, I love that stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
with my kids, you know, when we went to Australia and visited there, well, that country, we have been to the second tallest, this free fall slide or glide roller coaster in the world.
Wow,
Well, I
amazing.
tell you, well, that's scary, man, but the pump of adrenaline, you know, the crazy feel that you have, it's just like, wow, that was
I think we
incredible.
need that. You know, you were a surgeon, transplantation, and I think this adrenaline is in your veins. You know, it's like myself. I did a ballet, classical ballet, and I was used to go to the stage every day in the front of a big public every day. So we need that. We need as
Mhm.
doctors and persons, we need a little bit adrenaline. We need this push. This is the young part of you.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. I fully agree with you on this.
Okay.
So in my introduction, I mentioned a bit about your career pathway, about the studies that you have done, and I also mentioned that you are a program director for the in the university in Lisbon, and you teach orthomolecular medicine, and you teach immunology and nutrition. Right. So can you just tell in your own words, because it's really exciting, and I believe everyone would like to know. I I've seen you lecturing at least 3 times. I was a couple of times on the conference, and once, remember, we did the seminar in Germany together, and that was incredible. So your formulas for the IV infusions and for the orthomolecular medicine nutrition, plus you've written that wonderful article on the brain nutrition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember? Yep,
Yeah. I
yep.
remember. Yeah.
Yep, we have few articles together, but those about the immunology and all. But that article was really incredible. I
Okay.
have it. I can even share the PDF or link later. I'll put the link to this article to the description of this video.
Thank
You
you
know,
very
so
much.
those are really interesting things. So tell, what are you teaching?
Yeah, I am a coordinator of the postgrad course at the CESPO University. CESPO is a poly faculty school here in Portugal, over a little bit overall. I do teach the post-graduation in orthomolecular medicine and functional nutrition. And
Mhm.
inside this program, I have several disciplines: immunology, biochemistry, and so on. So I do teach a lot of modules inside of this bigger course. And we have another one in anti-aging medicine, which I am also a teacher there inside. So during the modules, we have a very, very practical and scientific, profound discussion of all different kind of arguments. So the
Okay.
modules, for example, the orthomolecular, we have to teach the patients or the students
You teach
how.
postgrads, right? Your students are
Yeah, yeah,
postgraduate,
postgrad
postgraduate.
students. Yeah, I have to
Rita,
teach them.
Rita, remember Rita,
Yeah,
Dr.
the
Rita?
doctor.
She was one of your students, right?
Yeah, she was one
All
of
right.
my students that I sent to you
Yeah, she came to the
to
seminar. Yeah, wonderful person. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, wonderful. So what I teach there is divided in three parts. The first part is basics, like I
Mhm.
do remember then how to, for example, work with the biochemistry, but
Yep.
not this biochemistry that we learned at the university.
Yep.
Practical one. The one that
Yes.
we were
Right.
talking about, you know,
Yeah.
mitochondria, how to optimize the
Absolutely.
biochemistry, how it functions. So that is the basics. Afterwards, we change to practical clinic. So I do, how can we bring the biochemistry from the bench to the patients
Mhm.
and to explain easily how to do that to the patients. So how to communicate with them and how to think about the very complicated stuff and make it very simple and practical in the clinics.
Mhm.
And afterwards, they have to come and as a journal club present articles.
Okay.
for me to understand their interpretation of text and how they can think over a situation that is science and practical in the same time. So they have to interpret very well the articles and speak about the articles and have criticism about
critical
that
analysis.
Yeah, and then everybody have to speak about the article, and I do make a brainstorm of each article, and this is the final of the moduli. So every moduli has to be divided in 3 parts: basics, practical, and journal club. And this is for a year. The post-graduation is from the biochemistry until the practical treatments, regenerative treatments, immunotherapy, nutrition, advanced nutrition, how to handle the nutrition, the proper diet with the good supplements, how to integrate them with conventional medicine and other tools that we have in regenerative medicine.
Yeah. So as you heard, probably we've been working hard on establishing the new university, which is now formed. It's a few months already. It's, I think, more than a year.
Congrats.
And it's called the International IUBRX, International University of Bioregenerative Sciences. So Dr. Roni Moya, I hope that he will join us, and he'll be one of the deputy deans, you know, and he will head the program, educational program in immunology and orthomolecular medicine and all, because there's much more to that. We are not going to focus only on the medicine. We're gonna just look on it as a science as it is, you know. So we'll try to be all-inclusive in terms of people and ideas and thoughts and the approaches that are used in the bioregenerative science, you know. So and also what I'm saying, that all-inclusive, we're going to have an approach from just the basic science and from the science of nutrition, and also with some kind of medical interpretation of that, you know, because we are all living beings. We are not laboratory rats. You know, we have our environment, we have our lifestyle, we have different genetics, and to a certain extent, even a normal range of some parameters may not be applicable to the specific person, you know. So a personalized wellness, a personalized medicine, precision medicine, and a biohacking, you know, as the core of it, you know, that's how I see it probably gonna move in future, and that is the medicine of the future. Plus, you look at the COVID-19, well, it's probably wider spread than we think, and we have, like most of us, have it in some asymptomatic form, but still there are people who are probably affected by that and people who are dying, you know, and that's horrible. So if you look at what is the background of those people, you'll find that they have those chronic diseases, which in 99% are found in all patients who passed away because of COVID-19. So it's metabolic syndrome, diabetes, obesity, poor immunity, hypertension, and stuff like that. You know, so what Dr. Roni Moya is doing is the research of it, the interpretation of all the available data in the world, plus he's teaching that. So he, a selected group of doctors, literally, right, already pre-educated people, just when they want to know more, you know, they go for these sort of postgraduate programs, and they really learn how to learn, first of all, yeah, and they also learn how to interpret data correctly, and not be just blindly guided by narrow guidelines or indications, which so plenty of all this stuff in conventional medicine, you know. And the guidelines now are nothing else but the instructions or manuals how to use drugs in a way, you know. So, and so many doctors, when I'm talking to them, you know, and I'm just mentioning some simple stuff, and then I see this some kind of misunderstanding, like, because they don't even know the biochemistry of this medication. They don't even know what the medications are doing, you know. So when you mention like the statins, for example, especially the earlier generations, they inhibit by 50% coenzyme Q10, you know. So if you tell this to a conventional doctor, they will say, so what? because they simply are not even informed about the importance, and how much it means in every contraction of the cardiac muscle, from the 16th week of gestation until the last moment when you breathe. So and these kind of things, or well, who would look at a risk of neurodegenerative disease in the long run, because you are just so busy treating the patient's blood investigation right here, right now during my visit, so that I can charge you, just give a prescription, go and buy another drug, Nobody will think long term for the patient, That's why I believe that the people have to be educated on both sides. The public, and I consider myself as well a public, because I'm the recipient of the treatments that I might be talking about, or other people, my colleagues are talking about, so I'm also a patient. And so both to the public and to doctors. That's what Dr. Roni Moya is doing. I also heard that you do some communication with clients or patients or something via the internet, or like telemedicine and stuff.
Yeah. First of all, I'm very honored to be selected to be in the group of the university. I think it's the future. The medicine is changing every day toward the most natural, intelligent treatments. So as we treat with cells, as we treat with peptides, as we treat with a wider range of natural molecules, we have to be very understanding of all the biochemistry and physiology in the body. Doctors will benefit very much from this course, every kind of health professional too, because we need to see the future. We cannot stand on the university basis. What we learned at the university is the basic of the basic of the basic. Now times are changing, world are changing. We have to understand the technology. Technology is the tool that the doctor has to be understandable to work with. So speaking about the students and the communication, today, for example, I am finishing another degree at university. I'm studying design. You know why? Design.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like I almost went for the 3D printing. I was like seriously considering that.
Exactly. That is the thing. I entered in design at the design university 3 years ago. I'm the last semester now, and my teachers. I was studying with these 18 years old people, and I'm 44, and then teachers were asking me, why do you do design? Because you are a doctor. Why do you have to do design? Design is in everything. So longevity is design, biochemistry is design, 3D printing can make a lot of things, Even in the longevity, we have those devices, like a suit from the astronauts that can trigger the antioxidant molecules into your body to not be aged in the space. So you have so many things going on in design, in medicine, in technology, and this university can bring to doctors and health professionals the vision of the future and not look just to the past, how to interpret data, how to understand the data, and how to fulfill the creative ideas to make new tools in the future. And for that, you have to understand everything, And the problem is that the patients, they are not sensitive to new things. So you have to understand how to communicate with the patients, how to communicate with the doctors, and not convince them, but make them see our side view, make them see the world a little bit spread than they are watching now. Speaking about the cholesterol and the statins that you told, for example, I had a patient this week, she's 75 years old, and she went to Switzerland when she was very young to do the cell therapy. And she felt herself amazing. And now she has these small aneurysms because she smokes every day a lot. Even now, because of lockdown, she smokes a lot.
Oh, the atelectasis, the lung lymphatic disease.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the doctor just said to her, you have to take statins. But she has just a normal cholesterol from family, like 200, you know, not so much. And she has a small arteriosclerosis because
Okay,
of the
okay.
smoking, but she's fine, you know, she's working fine. If you do like phosphatidylcholine, or if you treat them with some kind of intelligent peptides and so on, she will be better. She won't need this
Yeah.
kind of
But
treatment.
that's that horrible misconception that has been introduced in early 70s, that we are supposed to take the low-fat diet and zero low cholesterol diet, and in that way you can reduce obesity and heart disease and all. It turned out to be absolutely a junk theory, simply because there is no connection between the cholesterol that we consume with food and the level of cholesterol in blood. And it's not about having low cholesterol, which we need to build up our liver, all cellular membranes. In a way, you know, we need those phospholipids. We need the cholesterol to produce close to 5 tens of hormones, steroid hormones. You know, 48 steroid hormones, including our testosterone and all the DHA, the pregnenolone. It is all out of the cholesterol molecule. Yeah, but the thing is that when you eat low cholesterol and you eat a high carbohydrate food, what actually happens, the transportable form of cholesterol cannot be transported in blood. So it has to be converted into a more complex molecule, which are called LDL or HDL, the low density lipoproteins or the high density. But the most dangerous are those which are not actually routinely tested, the very low density lipoproteins. So it's a different composition ratio of the molecule, which mostly happens when you eat less of the cholesterol. When you eat high cholesterol, high protein diet, then it will be a high density lipoprotein molecule formed, and you have less chances of developing atherosclerosis. So it's an opposite effect.
And to add your information, which is amazing, is the cholesterol that does harm people are those oxidized. And we have a marker for that, LDL oxidized, LDL ox. So if you compare the LDL with the LDL ox, you can see properly the problem of the cholesterol is stress, not the cholesterol itself, right?
Yeah. Plus this stress, you know, every time when we have a stressful situation, with whatever it is, whatever nature of the situation, whether it's a psychological stress or physiological or whatsoever, but we will launch this same old mechanism of stress response through our stress hormones and all, which we have inherited since the hundreds of millions years ago, you know, from a reptilian brain, literally, okay? So that is meant just to save your life in extremely hazardous situation. But the same happens to us. We launch the same mechanism every time when we have a psychological stress. You know, when we take this horrible thing in the hand, you know, it's like called phone, mobile phone, and you are just constantly exposed to that stress. And you are producing cortisol. It's called pregnenolone steal. Like you literally don't have enough pregnenolone to produce your DHEA and then your testosterone, estrogen, and everything. Yeah, you just produce your stress hormones. So again, you have to understand that. It's one thing that maybe try to prevent the stress and things like that, but things which are happening inevitably, they're already happening. You cannot just let it be without interference. And that's what alternative medicine or integrative medicine, the biological medicine, regenerative medicine, any other type of medicine, unfortunately, except conventional medicine, is actually addressing to. So here is the point, and then the main mission of people like Roni Moya and like me is that we just try to be all-inclusive, and we have the knowledge and the experience and data and career in conventional medicine, you know, but we parallel to that, we're doing more, and we're going for these postgraduate courses, we're doing PhD, like you are doing this master program of another master program. I mean, you are like, what, seven degrees in hand, you know, something like that, you know.
I do think that we have first to have all the pillars, you know, very basics in the medical school. We need to study, we need to have the basics. After the basics, you have to fly, because then you can compare, you know. People normally, they wanna shortcuts. They wanna understand a little bit of everything. That's not what we are talking about. We are talking about deep, very strongly pillars in science and biomedicine to be able to fly and speak about other things. For example, if I say to the patient, you don't have to take statins, I have to have a basis to explain why. You know, if I
And
just
you have
say,
to give the alternative. You have to give the alternative, the option for that.
yeah, but I have to explain why, because otherwise they will go to other doctors who more or less they are more conventional, and they will say, why? This guy is crazy. He's telling you to die. He's not giving you statins. You have to take the statins. That fight, I don't want to fight anymore. You know, I just want to explain scientifically my point of view and why she doesn't or he doesn't have to go into the statin way. If we explain like that, your pregnenolone, DHAA, testosterone, oxidation of the LDL and everything, they will understand. Of course, you don't have to be so deep in science to explain to them in a way that you can communicate easily with them. They will understand and they will trust you. You know, you don't have to fight people. You just have to explain. The best fight is the good argument, you know, is just that, and based on a very, very deep, important science, as we are talking about now.
That's why the PhD program and the PhD students are actually my favorites. I enjoy truly when I was during my PhD time, okay? And I love everyone who is going into the PhD program just because you are educated already, you have something going on in your career, you have experience, and you probably have your own practice. And then you are so proactive and you're so smart that you want to invest in yourself, in your own future, literally, in the further development of your own career. What more better can it be? And you go for and do the PhD program. And the beauty of that program is that it's not just sitting in the class, you know, and now it's all through the webinars and all, but mostly you have somebody who will give you some hint or guidance in your self-research. And you can do it with your own existing practice and all. You can just add on some components, so maybe restructure it in some way with, put it this way, advice and the supervision and the whole group, which is participating in doing that. And you can produce your own clinical research.
Yeah, the PhD is the, for example, I say like that, the master science is to be able to understand a problem. And the PhD is a part of understanding how to resolve the problem. You know? And for that, you have to be creative. For that, you have to have a brainstorm every day. It's like in design life. Designers are the solvers of problems. Everything is solved by design. So if you are creative enough to design a good way of practicing your medicine or your science, then you are a good PhD student and you become a very good professor and doctor. You know, this is what we defend in the new university, and we have.
And in our personal, that's our personal beliefs, and this is our personal vision. You know, how many people have you trained in your life? Can you just give rough estimate?
I don't have an idea, you know, because I trained a lot. Just in Portugal, we are in the 70th edition. So 7 years already teaching students how to think like ourselves, how to go into regenerative medicine. Also, I did teach in Italy, I did teach in Brazil. My first life in Brazil, I was teaching already at the university. So I don't have an idea, but every seed that we put there, that we place there, is a seed to have better doctors today, you know, to think differently. You have to think different, but to think different, you have to know basic science. And this is what I defend. There are so many people that call themselves doctors or call themselves good health professionals, but what they do is go into Google doctor and learn a little bit of that and start to speak things without any basis. That is the problem, you know?
Oh yeah, it's getting more and more of that, you know, everywhere. It's just scary. It's like an epidemic. And I always welcome a general knowledge of all the people. But sometimes it's like too much, you know, you have to give a room for the actual hours and years that have been spent as an undergrad student and as a postgraduate student. There is a theory which says that for you to learn a new skill, you need about 10,000 hours. So if you will calculate how many years those 10,000 hours, so you're talking about an average about 6 years, and that is the actual reason why the program, when they design the medical school and all the steps, the bachelor and the degree and everything that you go through, you like at least 6 years, man, up to 9 years. That's no shortcuts in this. There's absolutely no shortcuts.
No shortcuts. But you have to be open to, after have a very good basis. It's like ballet. Ballet is the same, At the first 8 years of the conservatory, you have to learn the basics to be able to dominate the technique. After that 8 years, when you go to the opera and when you become a professional ballet dancer, then you can fly. Then you can be an artist, not just a gymnastic. You learn how to do things in 8 years. After 8 years, then you become an artist, because as you dominate the technique, as you dominate the tools, you can put your soul over that. It's the same in medicine. You have to understand the basics. You have to study a lot. You have to read a lot. And afterwards, then you can put your art above. Then you can argument. Then you can understand what is wrong, what's right, and never is wrong and right, but what's most interesting for you to go on with, So be creative, be out of the box, but with the feet on the earth. That's what I'm defining now.
This phrase of yours, the feet on the earth, I would define it for myself as revisiting the data, even the stuff that you think you have learned already, when over the years you just open the same textbook, well, not the same textbook, but I mean the newer version of the same textbook. When you read through that again, then you're like, wow, now it makes better sense. Now when I learned over years all this stuff, and practice and being in all the horrible shit situations that I've been to, or I mean dealing with patients and all, now I understand why it didn't work or something went wrong in that case, so that's very important now. Look,
today, just to end, sorry, today, for example, I do have this first immunology book, very destroyed, very old, but still I go back to these basics of immunology and I learn again, Wow, my God, that I was forgetting. I have to put that back on the article now. It's like basics of the basics and of the basics. As I tell you, you are always learning, always.
You know what I start doing? I'm doing that for the past 3 years. So when I read anything, like any article, review article or book or something, and I see any indication or any citation or reference to some publication which was done earlier than that, I just find every source and I go back to the roots and I read that again. In that book or article, I usually find a reference or indication to even earlier publications. So I go back and stop and read all that stuff. I create, that's why, I work like 16 hours a day minimum. I have for me, office hour and non-office hour. I just work, I work in the night, weekends, Saturdays, Sundays, public holidays, and I try to create this like a network, the logical network of science, how it was developed, and of course in applicational sense, so how we can use it and stuff like that. So I'm fully with you on this. But listen, Roni, by no means, I cannot just let you go and not ask you one more topic that I really want to talk to you. How was that even possible, the ballet dance? I mean, I understand you can have a hobby, okay? Like I have a hobby, scuba diving, and you have a hobby, scuba diving. I love driving, you love driving. Well, I did martial arts, I have a third dan black belt karate, I was fighting and all, but still, it was not even semi-pro, it was just recreational. Ballet dance is a professional activity that requires a full dedication, I don't know, hundreds of hours, thousands of hours of practice and all. Did you do that when you were studying? Parallel, in the same time?
Yeah, my life is a little bit. I was never.
Your life is a lot incredible.
Yeah,
I
never sat down in just one chair. I'm very I don't like routines, you know. I like to be able to do a lot of stuff, and I do think the talent is a mix of a lot of lives. So what I did, I always loved the arts, and from 6 years old, I was at the ballet school, and then I entered at the conservatory. But the conservatory could allow me to go to a proper university if I wanted. But the university that I did in Sao Paulo was private and very expensive. And I could, as a ballet dancer, work at the opera. And with the salary from the opera, I could go to the university and study. And at the university, they knew that I was professional ballet dancer, and I could have flexible time to study and to go to the classes and so
You're
on.
not from a rich family, right? As far as I know.
No, I am for a good, normal, middle class family, not poor. I had a good life, but I wanted it as a man. I wanted to pay for my things, you know. So I studied a lot ballet dancer. That was my first profession. My first job at the opera in Sao Paulo. I was dancing there, and with the salary, I was able to pay for the university. But it was very hard because I did a tour as a ballet dancer in other cities and other countries, and I was studying all the time. And then meanwhile, the people were enjoying going to discos and having a good time, and I, 18, 19 years old, studying at the bus, at the airplane, at the hotels, never going out. It was like a focus that I had to have two professions, you know. And afterwards, when I came to Germany, I got a prize, a award, an international award,
Wow,
as a ballet dancer. And I was invited to go to Germany as a ballet dancer. So I was already immunologist in Brazil. Then I was a little bit older, and I had to go there or not go. You know, I had to decide.
But you studied in Germany also, right?
Yeah,
I mean, through the time when in opera theater, you still studied, right?
Yeah, I went to Dresden first.
Okay. It's all
With
east part, right?
Yeah, with the scholarship, and I went to Dresden. And with this award to go to Germany, I stayed at the ballet school there a little bit, and then afterwards I went to Dresden Opera as a ballet dancer. Then parallel, I did study in other universities like science, but my focus there was to be a ballet dancer, to be a good ballet dancer. Then I went to Leipzig when I was a ballet dancer at the opera, at the Leipziger Opera. And in the end of the 3 last years at the opera, I saw that was a small part of the theater that was just focused on musical theater. And I saw that the singers could have better salary than the dancers.
Okay.
So I changed my life from the ballet to singing. And I studied like 4 or 5 hours.
Hook, man. You took a hook in your career. You know, you didn't look for shortcuts, man. I mean, I respect that.
It was like,
did you study shamanic medicine in your graduate university in Brazil? Was there a part of shamanic medicine?
Yeah. Biomedical university. The biomedicine is medical, is a MED.
No, shamanic, the Amazonian shamanic medicine.
No. In the university, we do like normal medical stuff. You know, there is no alternative medicine. But the post-graduation in medicine in Brazil can be done in acupuncture at the hospital, because acupuncture is the health insurance from the state is completely acceptable. And homeopathy, they have also a PhD at the medical school there in Brazil. But I didn't study homeopathy there. I studied just immunology for transplantation, just that. I didn't do anything alternative there in Brazil. And afterwards, I learned that in Germany and in Portugal.
Was it hard in Germany because you stayed in the eastern part, and that was like so many years ago, just after the Soviet part and the western part reunited? So the mentality was still pretty
very left
different.
And very complicated. For example, I have an episode when I was in Leipzig. After one very beautiful gala night at the opera, I was walking to my house, and 2 guys just beat me very hardly. I had to go to the hospital, and I had to be there like completely destroyed. My face, I had to do plastical surgery and so on.
Just because
Just
you're a foreigner.
just because I was foreigning, and also because I was famous and had job.
All
Because
right.
as I was foreign and having a job from the state, because the opera is state opera, right? So as I was completely employed at the opera and speaking other language that was not German, they were very very violent to me, and they beat me very hardly. That was one of the episodes that I passed in Germany. I had several episodes, but German people, I love them. They
Mhm.
became my life, they became my
Yeah,
heart, they
yeah,
became my friends. And there is not Germany. There was
yeah, yeah.
the small
It's not. Yeah,
mentality of the Eastern part.
yeah. That's the heritage of the radical left. Because according to the radical left, there is no competition. There is a complete universal approach to everything and everyone, egalitarianism, and stuff like that. So, of course, when it's very difficult for those radical left societies to accept any form of challenge or any form of competition when it's a healthy competition. So the only reaction of those on the left to those on those people who are just good in what they do is just hatred and try to ostracize them and try to attack them physically, whatsoever. That's the only thing that they're capable of. So
Yeah,
how many years in Germany in total have you spent there?
I was from 99 until 2004. Was a lot of years, and I saw Germany developing, because when I arrived there was nothing. There was even nor even a smell of capitalism. For example, McDonald's, Pizza Huts, those junk stuff. There was none in Germany, which is good, but there was none cinemas, movies, nothing. But afterwards, I start to see Germans asking for that,
Mhm.
German opening their minds to that. But the problem is that several people that run those cities were people from the time being of the war, you know.
The
So it
Soviets,
was
yeah.
really really hard to go between the new mind and the old mind, because fathers would pass through kids those communist mentality, and that was the problem. But after 15 years, I came back to Dresden to see the city,
All right.
another city,
Okay.
cosmopolite, peaceful people. Dresden is completely recovered. When I was there, was destroyed by bombs from Winston Churchill still.
Yeah.
So I saw a very destroyed city, and after 15 years, I saw a completely renewed city. This is very beautiful to see.
Like
Even the
Frankfurt, for example, they are still rebuilding. There are places in Frankfurt which are still rebuilding after the Second World War, because that was like heavily destroyed. The only place which was left was that small square in the center, and everything else was just blasted
yeah,
completely. Do you
yeah.
like Berlin?
I love German. I love
Berlin,
Germany.
Berlin, Berlin.
I love Germany. I love Germany.
Okay, okay, all
Berlin
right, got
and
it,
every
got it.
part. I love Germany. I really love Germany. I love every part of Germany. I love the food. I love the people. I love the atmosphere of Germany. And Berlin is very cosmopolite.
Yeah.
And as I love art, the Staatsoper from Berlin, the Deutsche Oper, and every place smells art and design and creativity and medicine. They are very, very, very developed in every aspect of the world. Germany is the I think it's the example of rebuilding and being very intelligent to
Mhm.
open themselves to the world.
Can you name your three favorite cities in Europe?
Yeah, I name it. Vienna,
Okay,
Milan,
all
and
right.
London.
Okay,
Completely different.
completely different. Yeah, I don't have three favorite cities in Europe for some reason, but I have like two favorite cities, the Amsterdam and Barcelona. So I think
Oh
those are
yeah.
very, very nice places. And
You
not
love
be,
you love the Latin way of life, right?
well, not because it's a melting pot. There's like everyone is there. And the beauty of this, there's a reason why I actually love these two beautiful cities, is that you don't really feel, and you don't even think for a second, who is the local person here, who is the foreigner. You know,
Yeah.
the atmosphere is so great and so relaxed and so friendly that you don't even have to think of all that stuff, you know? So it's just natural. You just be there. And
Yeah,
Barcelona
I'm a
is an
more
absolutely relaxed place.
yeah, yeah. My family is from Barcelona, Catalonia, because Moya is a Catalonian name.
Oh,
But
wow.
I love big cities. I'm from São Paulo, and I love like arts and design and technology. This is why I'm telling Vienna is the music, beautiful city. It's
Mhm.
amazing. And Milan is the modern design, amazing city. And London is what you told, cosmopolite, full
Yeah.
of different kind of people, you know. But of course, I love a lot of other cities. But if I have to name three, they are three different, but still cosmopolite in every single aspect. You know, I love to go to Vienna to hear music at the Staatsoper Vienna as much as I want to go to London to see a musical theater and to enjoy food. You know, it's the life in Europe is amazing. I love to be in Europe.
Brother, they're gonna cut us off in about 20 seconds. Look, I had such a pleasure. Thank you so much, Dr. Roni Moya. You are
Thank
amazing.
you.
Okay, you're a fantastic guy, and let's make it again. We'll fix another appointment, another meeting like this, and we'll come back and meet again. Thank you, Dr. Roni
This is
Moya.
to everybody. Thank you. Hugs from Lisbon. Thank you, Dimitri.
Love you, bro. See you.
Bye bye. I love you too. Bye bye.
Bye, brother.